Hello, YouTube. This is Uncle Barry tuning with you today, just doing some more brain dumping. Um, Today, I kind of want to talk about a subject that's been kind of going viral, and it's about the topic of whether Black people tip or not when they go out to eat at restaurants. And I found this very interesting because, one, I do work in the service industry, and so I've worked in the service industry for I guess overall close to 20 years, I guess. But um, I wanted to talk about this because I think it's just a subject that really needs to be talked about, even though it's going viral. Some people are getting mad about it, or some people are denying it, or whatever. But there's a couple of thoughts that I had around it that I wanted to share with y'all, at least from my perspective. So, you know, first and foremost, I love serving. I love just, meeting new people and, trying my best to try to help them out with what they're looking for. I mean, if I can help you have a good experience, that's fun for me because the truth is I don't know if you're having a bad day or just need a break from life. And so me personally, I'm not trying to make your experience there bad because it may be just what you need. I mean, I say it all the time. I try to serve a cup of soup as if it's like a one of our finest steaks because you just never know what people are dealing with. So if I can serve that cup of soup to you as if it was a very valuable item, and make maybe engage with you a little bit if that's what you're looking for, or just leave you peace or quiet, whatever you're looking for. I try to do that just to give you a break from life, and so that's why I enjoy serving. But with me being in the industry for a long time, I just noticed a lot of different attitudes and a lot of different scenarios. When I before I became a server, I was bussing, and I remember like some white people, some of my coworkers come to me up at the time, and they asked me a question, and they basically said, Barrett, why don't black people tip? And the first time that I heard it, I was like, man, that's racist. You know what I mean? Like, like, my dad goes out to eat all the time, and he tips really well. And I'm not saying that every black person tips well, but at that time, I'm thinking like you make it seem like all black people don't tip, and I just kind of ignored it. But it wasn't until I became a server to where I understood what they were talking about. Now, let me be clear. It's not required for anybody to tip you a certain percentage. I mean, if they want to leave zero, they can. But as much as we say that we love each other, or say we need to stick together, or whatnot, prove it with your money. Because the way I say it is, it's like it's an opportunity to make your money circle. You know, and you can tip off of performance or whether you like somebody or not. But for me, I think a big reason when it comes to because I'm black. I'm probably blacker than most of y'all. You know what I mean, as far as like skin tone. But um, what I want to talk about was just my observation of why I think that is a stereotype. Because I mean, it's kind of crazy when you kind of look at it. But so there's a term called field Negro versus house Negro. Now, if you don't know where that term came from, it came from slavery back in the day. If you was a field Negro, I mean, you were probably working in the field and probably got worse treatment than the house Negro. If you was a house Negro, you was inside, and it's not that you weren't treated bad, but you probably ate just slightly better or got certain privileges that the house Negro didn't get. And to be honest, I feel like all that was designed just to keep you all fighting amongst yourselves. You know what I mean? Um, it's just easier way to control you. If I got 5 out of 30 people who are house Negroes, and I trust them to maybe keep the field Negroes in line with orders or keeping them from riding up against me, then that's what they were used for. But anyways, it's just a situation in slavery that it's um, its results basically just travel to today, I believe. And so when it comes to serving, here's my thoughts around it. When it comes to serving and how it relates to the house Negro and field Negro, because I've heard online where there were some black people, and this is on YouTube or whatever. Some black people said some of their best tips came from black people, and I believe them. But after hearing like how they sound, I mean, they sound like they have a little ebonics, a little hood or a little uh, urban language, to their language. And so I thought about it, and I was like, I think that that's it. I think that if I'm serving a black table, and it's not always, but I feel like based on how they relate to each other. So if you talk hood, or if you talk, like you've got urban ebonics, then the people that you're serving, if they sound like that, they're probably gonna mess with you because y'all probably sound alike and got more in common, you know. But if a house Negro, I'm talking about somebody who, quote unquote, maybe talks white or proper English or whatever it is, if they encounter a table who is maybe hood or whatever, that hood person may not tip them as well just because they feel some type of way. If I've had my own family call me, he thinks he's white. And I laugh at that 'cause I'm like, well, why'd you put me in white schools if you was concerned about that, But that's just me. You know what I mean? Like people be, arguing about like the weirdest stuff. But for me, there's nothing wrong with talking white. To me, it's just proper English. If you're, trying to be taken seriously in the world. Urban Ebonics, as popular as it may be in urban culture, nobody's really going to take you seriously in the world. I mean, you see how Trump is going up against Russia with the tariff wars and how it gets serious with certain meetings or whatever. Imagine, like, I don't know, Master P or whoever, going up to Putin and trying to negotiate certain things. I mean, at that level, like, nobody's going to take you seriously talking a certain way that way. They're just not, because it's not proper English. It's just the way it is. I mean, you may sell a lot of records, you may have a lot of fans, but you're not like making moves that will be taken seriously amongst the world. But anyways, I really do think that that's a part of it in terms of when they're not tipping a certain way. Now, for me, I've been in situations where I was like, you know what, I'm trying to take this girl out or whatever, and I know I don't need to go out, but because I'm trying to get her attention or whatever, I'm trying to make it seem like I'm not broke or can like take her out or whatever. And then you end up going out and you realize that you can't tip like the way that you want to. So I always felt bad, but the truth is that if you're ever in that situation, you probably just shouldn't go out. I mean, if that person or whatever doesn't respect the hey, I just can't do it right now, they're probably not for you anyways. But the only reason why I say it because, like, as a server, I see a lot of guys take these girls out, and they'll order like something that's like average, and then the girl will buy something outlandish, and then their bill's higher than maybe what they want, and then they don't, and they may leave like, I don't know, a couple dollars or whatever. I'm talking like on a big tab too, maybe like, I don't know, 100, $150 or whatever, just leave like a couple dollars, and I'm like, okay, like, I mean, I go get a pack of gum with it, I guess. But um, the longer that I've been in the service industry, I try not to focus too much on the percentage that people leave because, I mean, honestly, I don't know what people are going through. Like I said, I've done it once or twice myself, so I try to give them a break. But what I will not slide is the attitudes that come with it. And so I'm gonna tell a few stories, just so you know what I'm talking about. But that's just something that I will not like. I won't tolerate. I won't make any excuse for any bad attitudes because it's not unnecessary. If I'm me personally, I try to give even greater service to black people because I mean, I just know kind of like what we go through behind closed doors. But I mean, my question is, why do I have to give you greater service knowing that you're not going to tip high? And then if you take a job as a server, then all of a sudden you want people to tip you high. Like then you gotta treat people the way you want to be treated, you know. But anyways, there was a situation where I was serving a family of 6 people, and I believe it was like the mother's birthday, and so I was trying to make sure that everybody was having a good time and enjoying their food or whatever. And it was crazy because I felt like everybody was having a good time and enjoying their food, but there was this one lady. I guess it was the daughter. I guess she was the one that was paying for the bill or whatever. And so she basically ordered basically the cheapest thing on our menu, or one of the cheaper things on our menu, which is fine. Like I'm not here to. I mean, I'm just here to get you what you want. That's my job. Is just to get what you want and try to get to you as fast as I can. But um, so basically, 5 out of 6 people enjoyed their meal, and she didn't. She didn't enjoy the appetizer that she got or that I recommended. Because I mean, it's an appetizer. I mean, the thing is, I don't know what you like. I don't know if you like spice. Unless you tell me these things, I don't know. All I can do is just tell you what's popular or what I like. You know what I mean? And so this appetizer that I gave her, I would say like 95% of people enjoy it. So that's what I went with. But she didn't enjoy it. I said, okay, well, but you have to try something else. No, this and that. And so I mean, at that point, I mean, there's nothing really else I can do other than just take off or ask a manager to take off the item that you didn't like or didn't finish, and maybe get you a dessert or whatever. That's all I can really do to say sorry for it. But even after doing all that, she left zero on like a it was like a $400 tab or something like that, and I didn't know if she forgot to put anything down. And so when I confronted her about it, she's kind of gave me like, no, I meant to do that. And so at that point, I mean, I was livid because I'm thinking like I feel like I worked really hard to try to make sure y'all enjoyed yourselves, but she just left zero. I said, okay, well, you have a nice night. And you know, it was just cruel. It was a power move, and that's what our problem is. We're too busy trying to dominate each other versus, you know, I mean, what else do you want me to do? I can't make you like our stuff. Why would you leave? How is it that 5 people enjoyed everything and you leave me zero because you didn't like your one little bitty appetizer? That's petty, man. It's petty, and I hope I never see her again. Because if I do, I would tell them, hey, don't deal with them. She's gonna mess y'all up or whatever. But anyways, there was another situation where I was dealing with another family, maybe like another family of 8 people or so. And um, I guess the guy that was paying for the meal, he was like the patriarch of the family, but he came in a little late. And he basically, um, I just remember being real busy. And so, but me still trying to just give him the spiel with the spiel, which is like, hey, like, have you been here before or first time? No, I haven't been here before. Well, this is what we have, and blah blah blah, and this is what's popular. So basically, he ended up ordering some oysters, and I just asked him. I said, "Well, do you want the oysters raw? Or do you want them char grilled?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. He said, "Well, how are they supposed to come? Like the only way you're supposed to eat them is raw." And in my mind, I'm thinking like, "Why would you ask me that? I don't know what you like. I'm just telling you that that's what options you have." I would feel bad if I got you some raw oysters, but you didn't know because you're not reading the menu. You're going based off what I'm saying. So if you didn't know that we had char grill options, that might make you upset too, right? So how am I supposed to know? But it was just the attitude behind. Well, how are they supposed to come? I'm like, okay, like well, they come raw, or we got these flavors if you want them char grill. He said, well, bring them raw, and then he said, well, and hurry up. And he did just like he said. He said, and hurry up. I was like, so the person that came in super late is telling me to hurry up. Again, we're talking about attitudes, guys. Now, this guy, again, I would classify him as more of a hood person, just the way he was talking and acting, his demeanor, he's just more hood. He was older than me, much more older. I'd say he's probably, I'm 37, so he's probably like, mid 50s or whatever, but he's just a older hood person. And I guess in his mind, he thought he was like an OG or whatever, and he could just talk to anybody type of way. But in my mind, I'm thinking like, dude, you came in like 20 minutes late. You know what I mean? Everybody's ready to eat or get going, and then you're talking about me hurry up. I'm like, come on, man. Like this is rude for no reason. But again, what was crazy was I got even though he was being very difficult by I was busy that night. I'm trying to deal with other tables, but he would try to throw me off my game. But hey, I need you to do this real quick. I'm like, dude, just hold on. Like, I'll get to you in a second. But he was just like real overbearing. And then when we got done, he basically shook my hand and said that I did a really great job. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, I mean, I felt like I could have given you better service if you would have allowed me, but I didn't really feel like I needed to because you was just being so rude to me. And so he left me like 10%, on like I don't know, it was like a $300 tab or something like that. And, I took the money, but I kept thinking in my mind, like, dude, I worked my butt off and I didn't feel like I got my worth out of that. You know what I mean? Why is it that I can, go over to this table and deal with these people and give them still great service, but not as great as I just gave you. And they're leaving me like 25, 30% or whatever. And I didn't do half as much as I had to do for y'all because I mean I'm a likable person. I mean I'll talk to you if you want me to or I won't. But either way, I'll make sure you get your food out as best as as quickly and as accurately as I can. And so, but it was just kind of crazy with the attitude that came with that. And this next story is it's not about the restaurant, but just I went to IHOP and I remember I was having a bad day and I just wanted to go get some pancakes. I may have told this story before. I don't remember, but um, I remember just sitting down and the guy who was serving me, he was kind of just standing off into the distance and it wasn't busy. And he kind of just was leaned up against a wall and he finally decided to come up to me as if it was like a burden to come to me. And he asked me, he didn't tell me his name or anything. He just kind of asked me what I wanted. And I told him I wanted 3 pancakes. At that time, their orders, and they may have changed it up, but their orders, I think you could order like 2 at a time if you want more or whatever. You could ask them. So I just wanted 3 pancakes, some bacon, and some scrambled eggs. I mean, to me, it's not that complicated, right? So he finally brought my food out, and it wasn't necessarily mean. He just seemed like he wasn't interested in engaging with me, and I didn't really care because I mean, I don't have to talk to him. I'm just ready to eat and go about my business, right? But when he brought my food out, he brought out 2 pancakes, and then I didn't know if he remembered or not, but I got his attention. I said, "I when you get a chance, can I get one more pancake?" Is what I asked him, and I didn't feel like I was, being rude or talking crazy to him. Um, but then he turned around and he just looked so angry at me. He said, "I'll be with you in a moment," and that's when I lost it. I'm like, man, like, and so I just quit looking at him, and I looked at the rest of my food and just kept eating. But then he proceeded to go to this other table. He went to a white table and then he went to a Hispanic table, and he's talking to them all nice and engaging with them, and whatever, just talking normal, which he didn't do with me at all. I'm like, okay, I mean, and that's the part that made me mad. I'm like, wait a minute now. So you talk funky to me. Again, this is another older person. Like, this guy's probably like in his late 40s to early 50s too. He's, I said I'll be with you in a minute. I was like, whoa, okay, okay. And so I finished eating and I went up to the front to go pay for my food. And basically, um, I guess the manager came up and he saw that I guess he saw my face and looked like I was upset. And I was trying to let it go, but he just kept like trying to bring up the subject. And what made me mad was when the server came up and tried to check me out because I guess he didn't want his boss talking to me or whatever. So he tried to like take over the situation. And my mom thinking like, oh, don't be attentive now. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You don't have to talk to me anymore. But when his manager came up to me, I told him what had happened, and I was angry. And I just said, I was having a bad day, and all I wanted was this. And then this guy acted this way. I can't even tell you who his name was because he didn't ever tell me. There was no name tag or nothing on him. So I just know that his attitude was not great towards me at all. But he turned around and was really attentive to these white people and this Hispanic person or this Hispanic couple. And I was like, man, that ain't right. Like, that's not right. So, anyways, I snapped and I never dealt with him again. I think I went back to the IHOP another time and I seen him there, but they didn't fire him or anything like that. Which I'm not trying to get people fired, but my mom thinking like, if I had talked to, I don't know, my guest the way that he talked to me, I would have been fired from my job. I would have. It was just crazy that he was talking to me. Um, Another situation was when I went to a gas station in Thornton's and I was trying to get like a lighter, and I didn't know where their lighters were, and so I asked the cashier lady. I said, "Excuse me, like where are your lighters at?" And her response to me was saying like, "Well, are you going to buy it or something like that?" And I was like what? Like what does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Are you looking at me and saying I can't afford it or something like that? I don't get it. And so I just looked. I literally looked at her. 'Cause I just got off working out a long day, and I said, like, just like calm down. Like, what's up with all that negative? He said, only if you want to buy it. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna buy it. I'm just asking where is it at, so I can pick one or whatever. But then like her excuse was, she said, well, a lot of people come in and they ask for. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not everybody. And in fact, if you was listening, I literally said, where are your lighters at? I didn't say, can I borrow? Like, I didn't say if you had a lighter. I said, where are your lighters at? But she just snapped on me. And so, at that point, again, it was the attitude. So I just started clapping back at her. And what tripped me out is that she said, well, I really want you to just leave. And she said, yeah, she said, I really just want you to leave before I call the cops on you. And that's when I lost my crap because I'm thinking like, so let me get this straight. It's okay for you to be rude and try to bully me, but you want to call the cops whenever I clap back because you don't like the energy. That's weak, man. How you gonna poke the bear and not like the results of you being rude? The truth is, I'm giving you money, girl, and I'm working every day just like you are to earn what I get. So when I come and get services from you all, and all it gives a bunch of attitude, that's tiring. It's like I don't even feel like giving this, but I need this. But I gotta sit here and take your negative, whatever it is that's going on with you, just being mean for no reason, you know. But anyways, a couple of solutions um, that I think might be appropriate. Um, I've heard the Hodge twins talk about this subject when they're talking about how to fix the stereotype, which is to raise the prices on the price of food. This including the tax and give it out. That's one way, but that's almost like punishing everybody for a few people's bad behavior. Is how I kind of look at it. We're already in a recession. Things are already expensive. It's not going to get any more cheaper. To me, I feel like you know having reasonably priced food um, just makes everybody more happier. But I mean, you can raise the prices. I mean, me personally, I think that they're already expensive, but that's just me. But if you want to raise the prices, go ahead. Go from a $400 tab to a $700 tab or something. You know what I mean? If that's what y'all really want. But to me, that's just to me that's not really the. It's an okay solution, but it's not the main solution because I just feel like it's going to piss everybody off. But the other solution that I think that will be more helpful for long-term success is to make it a requirement for every high school student to serve somewhere. It could be from ninth grade or whenever they're, however, I guess, whenever the working age is in each state. It could be 15 years old or whatever. But as soon as you turn 15, 16, whatever, 17, between those three ages, you need to go work. It needs to be a requirement for you to go work in a restaurant for like 3 months. I'm not talking about working 40 hours. I'm talking about maybe like on the weekends or whatever. But you need to work in a restaurant for like 3 months, and you need to serve, not just bus tables or cook. You need to go serve somebody. And the reason why I say that is because I think, see, a lot of people that say that or don't believe in that, saying, well, I tip and I don't believe in that. The only way that you're going to understand that is if you serve yourself. That's the only way I can put it to you. Like, because a lot of people that say that, well, I don't agree with that. I don't think that's really happening. Those same people haven't served. Or they may have worked in another, you know, um, like Uber Eats or something like that. That's not the same as serving. See, as a server, I gotta handle multiple personalities. As an Uber driver or Uber Eats, you're dealing with one person at a time, and you can cancel or walk away at any moment, right? But as a server, I got to deal with multiple people, multiple different personalities that, in their minds, it's all about them. They don't care about what this person wants. They only want what they want, and you got to learn how to juggle all that. And so, I guess I'll tell one more story because it was more recent. I had one black lady. Again, she was older. Um, she asked me a bunch of weird questions like, "Oh, your name is Barrett. Oh, you must have a lot of money." And I was like, I'm working towards it. I don't really know what that means, but um, I tried my best to try to answer all her questions and you know engage with her as long as I could. But the truth is, I got like a 15 top and another 8 top and then another like couple of 4 tops that I gotta go talk to. And for whatever reason, you just wanted me to just keep talking to you. I gotta go, Ma. I can't keep talking to you. I can only talk to you for so long. But I guess when I didn't give her what she wanted in a timely fashion, because I think the last thing she asked me was, well, I need a to-go box. But it was just how she said it. It was a demeaning type of a way. I just kind of looked at her like, are you done? Like, what are you after? And so she went to my manager and talked about how unhappy she was, and he gave her he took some items off the meal. But I'll say this: what you all don't realize is that you may think that you're hurting me or hurting each other or whatever, but you're really just putting a bad taste on us as a people because, again, I mean, I got my stories, but the rest of the world knows how you act too. That's why when they came up to me and said, "Why don't black people tip?" You know, they weren't trying to be racist; they were just trying to figure out what the deal is. And I hope that um, I just hope that overall we can kind of look at that a little bit differently and be like, one, if you don't have the money, don't go out. If you can't really, no, don't get me wrong. If someone's not um, doing you right, then yeah, don't tip them. But there's a difference between, I don't know, like we just got to get out of this me first mentality, because I mean, usually the people that act like that way, they don't really go out to eat often. They go to like Old Charlie's or Shoney's or some place like that. And there's nothing wrong with those restaurants. It's just they're just not as high class. So when they go out, they don't really know how to tip properly. So the only way you fix that is if you experience it yourself, in my opinion. Because I promise you, once you get in there, you're gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, and you're gonna be wondering like, well, maybe I shouldn't treat people that way, you know. But like I said, I think first and foremost has more to do with the field Negro versus house Negro mentality, as far as like how people treat each other. But until next time, y'all stay blessed. Let's try to treat each other a little bit better, and let's just take it one day at a time and get better, y'all. God bless.